Hello guys, welcome back, and this is me, Apurva, and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the alignment of stars, which are all most of the time mentioned in Hindu books, but also like when the people are born, we like to write about the star positions and specific time when special people are born, like the people who are meant to change the world are born. Uh, I remember reading about Sri Ram that when he was born, it was a time when if he was born a minute late, it would have been a pretty disastrous thing, and if he was born before a specific time, it would have been a most spiritual person ever born, and he was born exactly in between, like exactly in between when the time was about to change, because he was meant to bring the change in the world. And my grandfather put an argument in front of me that there are millions of people born in the same time, and yet they were not in the same role. How could you say that the timing he chose to born was so significant? And why are the other people who are not born at that time not so significant? First, the thing is that people would say, oh, he was a god, he was incarnation of a god. I agree. uh, but the thing to remember is that when in a human body, every power has limitation. Consider of it as a ocean, which is water of ocean put in a pot. So the power is limited, the things they can do is limited, because human bodies has some limitations. You can't go beyond a certain point as a human, as in a human body, which you can obviously do when you're not in a human form. So the body has limitations. Second of all is that there's a life mission which is already selected. Third of all is that all your past karmas and whichever things you did in the life are there, and you have to pay them, even if it's God. They have to. Like, it's every action has an equal and opposite reaction, and no one is spared from that, even gods. If you have read about Sri Krishna, he had to pay for like Gandhari's 100 sons, and even like I was reading about Sri Radha being married to Ayan, and it was because in some previous birth he prayed a lot and he asked for a boon we call Vardhan from the god, that he wants to marry Devi Lakshmi, and he was told that okay, you'll be able to marry her, but in a Radharani Swaroop. So that was the reason. Nothing is like without any reason. So everyone has a connection to some previous lives, and then they come in this life to fulfill that connection. Most of the people don't agree to it, but if you don't agree, then I would be happy to help you sort that thing. That when I'm channeling, I am not able to think in my own mind. That doubt away. So yeah, the doubt that you have that we are not the incarnation, that can be taken away, because think of it, what is the difference between you sitting now and if there was a dead body beside you? You would say the heart is beating, the mind is running, the blood is flowing. Why does the heart stop beating? Because the mind stops, you would say. Why does the mind stop? Because the heart stopped beating. Why does it stop beating? Again, the same question. You after a while you would say because there is a like energy, there was an energy that keeps us working, which is not there. Exactly my point. That energy, if it enters the dead body, it would be you. As simple as that. That energy form is you. This body is not you. If this body was you, you would keep on living in each life, and in each birth you would have the same face, the same body, the same build. But it's not the case. And you ask how I know? Because, well, I have seen 4 or 5 of my previous births, not everything, but I have had flashes of them, and I know for sure that I was not like this. Yeah, let's not talk about that. But, well, talking about the thing that life and death, yes, so we are carrying the burdens, the sometimes you have traumas from the past birth which you carry in this life. Sometimes you have to pay off whatever wrong you did or whatever good you did in this life. So that's how your not stars, but your birth chart is made, and you can see most of the times that those things in the birth chart. Now some people will say astrology is bullshit and all, but you just don't know how to read it. If you don't know something, it doesn't mean it's bullshit. It just means that you don't know about it. You can't say physics is bullshit because there's proof. You didn't study astrology, it doesn't mean it's bullshit. It just means that you don't know about it. Some people say physics, oh, it's nothing, maths is nothing. Because you didn't study, you don't know its importance. Getting it? So similarly with spirituality, you don't know its importance, you don't know how it works, you don't know the nitty-gritties, you don't know what you can do with it. And your ignorance doesn't mean that something doesn't exist. It does. You just don't know about it. So let's move on from that. So yeah. And similarly with the people who are born on special timing, it's just that they have their own karmas, they have their own life mission, and they have their own power in the spiritual world. And they carry a part of it which is visible, which can be used in the vessel called our body to the maximum extent. Not everyone has similar level of power in the spiritual world. So the power you're born with in this life depends on how old of a soul you are, what karmas you did, what like actions you did in the previous lives, to put it in simpler English, and also on whatever you have to accomplish. The stars alignments just is a pathway which you can follow, and it's a way for you to repay the debts you had, in a way that you reach your life's mission, and life unfolds in a certain way with the help of the stars. And that's the rule of the stars in your life. Imagine, like, if a person has Raj Yoga, it doesn't mean he would be the king. Maybe it means he would be the king, but he has to put in some conscious efforts. He has to do a certain amount of karmas to reach that. If a person has Raj Yoga, it means that if he works hard, he would be able to get good amount of material wealth. It doesn't mean he would be rich all his life. It would just mean that he would be able to get money. Will he manage it well? Will he just go out and spend all of it at once? Will he just go out and bet it all out? It depends on him. That is not specified by the karma, like not the stars. That is his own brain, how it works. And as like the more and more people are in alignment with the source above, the more easier it gets to get through life, because you don't have to think about a lot of things. Most of the things come to you as an intuition. You see flashes, you get news, you get these are the things I'm telling, the pros of spirituality. There are no cons. Like, you can say, like, you get to know some things beforehand and you have to keep them to yourselves. You can't go on telling, oh, this will happen in your life. You're talking to someone and you're like, oh no, this person is gonna have some problem in the future, and you can't just go tell them. That's some cons you can say. You just have to shut your mouth up, and you lose interest in living life in a similar way a lot of people are living. You don't feel interested in partying, you don't feel interested in overindulgence in a lot of things, you don't feel interested in material wealth, you are not scared by it. You realize that possession is not wrong, attachment is. This statement is not mine, so I am quoting uh, Rinpoche. My respects, but I don't know the full name. Guruji, like I don't know how to say. I heard his podcast with Ranveer Alavadia some time ago, but that was when I was planning my recording session and I was listening to a podcast. I often listen to podcasts, so that line stuck with me. And you slowly realize that your emotions are in your own control. You slowly realize that people just try to get a reaction out of you, and if you stay calm, you just bypass most of the things, and you just stop reacting to small things. You don't take things personally because you know that either it is coming out of negligence or it is coming from a place of insecurity. And then people think, oh, you are too naive or you're too generous. I'm not. I'm just not interested in replying to you, feeding your ego, you can say. Or maybe not your ego, but I'm just not interested in, we can say, arguing. You have no control over my emotions, simply put. You can say whatever you want because that's your perspective. That has nothing to do with me. I listen and I throw it away. I keep things which I know are beneficial for me. If it's not beneficial to me, nothing is personal. Nothing is personal. Even if it is, just work on it and make yourself improve. Constant change. Change is constant. That is one thing you should know. And how resisting to change is one of the things that people do that stop their growth as well. Why? Because when you resist changes in your life with full force, I don't think that does any good. You are just too attached to the previous identity of yours, and you are just scared to shed away your own past self. To be honest, I know what I have experienced in my life, this life, is that I have died once, like lost my identity completely as a human when I was in 8th grade. I was so sick, and after I was okay, I felt like I knew nothing of the world. It was a new world altogether. All the things I knew, all the people I knew, all the identities I think I knew of people around me, everything washed away. It was like God or like the spiritual team around me, they just pulled a veil off of my eyes, and I was like, what the hell I'm seeing it? I don't know anyone, even my family members, even the people around me, my friends. I was like, who the hell are they? I have never seen them in such a way. It was horrible, like, horrible as a person living on earth, like in materialistic world. When you see people on their spiritual level, it is a different kind of feeling. And I was a child back then, like 8th grade is nothing. You're probably you're 11, 10, 11, and you're like, what the hell, maybe 13, 14, I don't remember exactly, but you're like, what the hell is going on, man? And I was, for 4 or 5 years after that, maybe 6 years, I was in depression because I was trying to figure out how to live a humanly life in a world where I was born again. I was seeing the world completely different lens. I lost all of my abilities and capabilities which I had. I was like disabled in a way, and it was like I became a child again, trying to live, walk, talk as a human. I felt like alien in this world. I was like, what? And believe me, I didn't speak a lot. I was like, in my whole school, I talked to probably one girl, one of my best friend, but that's it. And then there were some of the friends which were like a little talk, but I didn't talk a lot. I was interested in debating, I didn't debate. And then there was like, I had anger issues when I was young, but I think it was maybe because I had post trauma from previous lives. I think what I realized now, like a few hours ago in my contemplation stage, was that when I was young, it was, I think I was paying off my previous lives debt, or I was still playing the role of my previous life, and uh, the way I died, the way I lived was like cause, and it was the effect of my previous life. The cause would have been in the previous life, but because I died earlier than expected, it was like I died earlier, so I had to continue to pay off some of the debts which I had and the trauma I had and all that. I was living through all of that. And then after like 10 or 12 years of living in this body, when it was paid, rebirth. I learned the lessons I had to, I paid everything, and then I was like, God was like, reset. I was like, no. But that helped a lot. I went into spirituality. I meditated about what, 3-4 hours a day. It was, damn it, was too much meditation, and I didn't sleep. I sleep like 2 hours. I am not suggesting it to anyone. It's not good, because like for me, I slept, it was like half sleep half awake situation. Like my mind would be rest, my body was asleep but my mind was awake, and I was like meditating. I was aware of everything around me. Different topic to talk about, but yeah. So concluding this talk, I will just say, if you don't know the world well enough, maybe be a little bit more curious. Till date, like I've not stopped contemplating on things, I've not stopped learning about new things, because when you think you know everything, you become a fool of life. You become a fool in life. So whenever you talk to someone, be ready to receive. Just be conscious that no, almost 80% people you'll talk to will reflect their own life experiences on you and not be able to understand what you're going through. So don't take anything personally, but don't be like too full of your own self to a point that you are not able to determine who is trying to help you out and who is trying to put you down in a backhanded manner. Sometimes good advice comes in a bit of a rude or I would say critical manner. So try to contemplate on something that you think triggered you, and try to think why it triggered you. That always helps in personal growth. You'll be try to understand your own self, and you should try to overcome and open the knots in yourself, so that you know what triggers you, and then the next question would be why it triggers you. And after you are able to reach out the why it triggers you, next time you find yourself triggered by the same situation, you'll be like, oh no, this is triggering my this wound, and this is nothing, like this person saying that to me is a fault in me. When you start seeing fault in you and not in other people, life becomes so easier. And when you see that, oh okay, this has nothing to do with me, they are just reflecting their own selves, and then you're like, well, they learn, it's just a small child, or they are just insecure, or they are just learning from life, still learning from life. And sometimes, I don't know if you have felt or not, I have felt for a very long time now that I live in a young body, but my soul is very old, very, very old. And I look at some people who are like 80 or like 70, and I'm like, still learning in life. Yeah, would have to come down again. Not, not in a, proud manner, but yeah, after some time you're able to tell a soul's age, you can say. And one of the things that I realized was that you are also able to tell. You're not able to tell the people who are here to teach you a lesson. You will not be able to tell what they are up to, what their nature is. Like, you will be given some red flags, or like the rings, you're like trun, 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 trun. But most of the time, if you are like, oh no, they do nothing wrong, it's just your intuition trying to tell you that, yeah, babe, please be careful. There's a green light, this is a red light, I had yellow light blinking, it would be red and then you'll be in trouble, careful. And you're like, oh no, they did nothing wrong till now. And then after some time they do something wrong. Not well, I'm no one to comment, just be careful of your life. And if you have such experiences, please feel free to share. I'd like to know about yours. For today, that's it. I don't know what I talked about exactly, but thank you for listening, because most of the time when I talk, it's like sometimes even when I listen to myself afterwards, I'm like, oh, where does this come from? And I'm like, boom, knowledge. So yeah, as I told, I'm just a medium. So yeah, see you. Have a good life. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave. And if you have anything you want to ask or have a suggestion for next episode, feel free.